Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Beast! I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2000 BC. The album, Dad. AF. Rock on, gold dust woman. All right, the reason that I'm singing it that way is that last night, Allie posted this meme on Twitter, and it was of James Vanderbeek, I think from Dawson's Creek, crying, and it said on there, me, every time Peter doesn't sing Gold Dust Woman, and underneath there, all these people were like, I thought it was Gorgeous Woman. I thought it was Gorgeous Woman too, and it cracked me up so much. It's Gold Dust Woman. It's a Stevie Nicks song. So anyway, that cracked me up. Okay, so today I want to talk about, well, two things. I have a Nikita Dragon video coming, glamour shots. I was going to film that video first, but I'm going to talk about Jeffree Star's Snapchat. I really just want to see what you guys think about all of this, and I really want to have you guys have a conversation in the comment section below. I've been loving reading the comments that you guys have been having. I ask that you guys have like a classy conversation, share your opinions. Listen. I often compare this to sitting up in the kitchen or driving around in the car with my good Judy Tanya. She and I drive around a couple nights a week. We have a conversation. Venti iced coffee from Starbucks. And, you know, she and I have been best friends for 22 years, and we don't always agree on things. And what we've realized is we can each have our opinions, we can each have our sides to things, and we don't always have to agree on it. And it often leads to a very interesting conversation. So I'm asking that you guys do the same things in the comment section below. You know, this whole situation is very, very interesting to me. And I think that in today's culture, you know, going into 2019, we said, we're going to keep it 100%. You know, we said we're going to keep it, you know, very, very real over here. Keep the same energy. And sometimes I see that and sometimes I don't. And it's interesting because I will say this, okay, that my observation is that Jeffree Star is kind of held to a different standard than other people. That things that other people, and I'm not talking about James Charles, I'm not just talking about that, okay? I'm talking about anybody out there. It seems like at this point, Jeffree Star can kind of do what he wants to do. And I think that that is ultimately a lot of power that somebody has. Has he earned it? Has he learned from his mistakes? I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to you guys in the comment section below. So if you don't know what you don't, how could you not? I mean, seriously. Have you been sleeping in a cave? How could you not know at this point that what happened was all this stuff was coming out about James Charles. Then Tati Westbrook, she made a video and she basically, it was like 43 minutes and she said all this stuff about James Charles. And then James Charles went MIA. Nobody knows where he's at. He was in Australia for a while. Then Jeffree Star came out with some tweets and so anyway, in the tweets, he said that he backed up Tati 100% and everything she said was true. And that and that Nathan didn't want him over his house because of certain things, but he didn't say what those things were. And then he also tweeted to Ian, James Charles' 17-year-old brother, when Ian tweeted out something to the effect of, why is everybody on the internet so tough? And I think he was probably subtweeting Jeffree, but fair question, I guess. Why is everybody, why are y'all so tough over there on the Twitter? And Jeffree Star tweeted back to him, why is your brother a predator? And something to the effect of, shut the F up. Okay, so those are apparently reactionary tweets because Jeffree Star said in his Snapchat that those are reactionary tweets. So before we get into me kind of talking about this and what I thought about it, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about it, roll the clip.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Okay, so a lot's happened this week. I have been on set for a few days doing something really major and magical. It took 24 hours total to do everything. So I haven't really been on my phone. I haven't really been on social media, and I'm just catching up on everything. And bitch, I have a few things to say. It's been a very crazy week in the beauty community with some of my friends and everything that's going on. So I just want to touch on a few things really quickly. If you're someone that watches me and likes makeup and my dogs, skip through all of these until you see a picture of a handbag or something cute. But if you are aware of everything that's going on this week in the beauty community, then let's have a chat. All right, so all week I've been getting a lot of questions about a tweet that I sent out. Now, after my friend Tati Westbrook uploaded her video about James Charles, a lot of people had opinions. A lot of people that had been feeling some type of way for a while were finally starting to speak out and say things. And I sent out a very big tweet that caused a lot of reactions. So I want to address that because you guys deserve an answer, and I want to touch on a few things. Now, I stand by everything I said. I want to start off by saying that. But I do regret, and I don't say that often, but I do regret sending out that tweet. Things on my end could have been handled behind closed doors, 100%. I was very hot-headed. I had seen a lot of disturbing things behind the scenes, my man, and Nathan was really grossed out by a lot of behavior that he saw. He took a trip with me and James, and it went really bad, and things were never the same after that. And I am in love with my man. Me and Nathan, we are like this, and I will always respect his opinion. So me and James started to get distant, and things got really weird. But that doesn't mean I don't love and care about someone. Because I said one sentence does not erase the history we have. It doesn't mean that I don't care about someone. And I want to get a little deep for a second, because guess what? This person right here, has had a history of horrible, dumb fucking mistakes. So there is no way that I'm saying, James, bye. No, that's not it. He needs to learn, he needs to grow, and he needs better people around him. Because the circle that's there, they're all yes men, and they're not helping him. I think that everyone deserves second chances. And I think that sometimes people deserve third and fourth chances. He's young, of course, he needs to grow. There's no, well, he should. No, bitch, he needs to grow. And he will learn from this experience, 100%. I've learned from all my past mistakes, and I continue to apologize for dumb, horrible shit that I said a long time ago. I will apologize for those things, really, until the day I die. So this is just me letting you guys know my thoughts. There's no ill will. I know James is very angry. I fully get it. I just want to say that I hope he takes some time off and actually mentally heals, and just gets in a better place, because there's a lot going on, and when you have a massive audience and you have big responsibilities, you have to be careful with that power. All right, now I've been on Twitter this morning. I want to address one more thing, because people, listen, I've had a crazy career, y'all. 15 years in the game. I'm an OG. I come from a crazy past. And I've also addressed so many things. But whenever a situation happens and I do comment or say something, which half the time I need to keep my fucking mouth shut, but we're all human beings with feelings and emotions, and we are allowed to have those. But I'm going to say this one time only. Do not compare my situation to anyone else's ever, okay? I am in a long-term, amazing relationship with Nathan, and a lot of people may not understand that. He only was with women before me. I know that may be a crazy concept, but don't compare my situation to someone else's ever. I have talked about my past. I've talked about my sexuality at length, and a lot of people may forget that. Rewind. There is a very big video on my channel called The Truth About My Relationship, and I dive in deep about sexuality, straight men, Nathan, and our entire history. So if anyone wants to try me, go replay that, please. Thank you. And also, when me and Shane filmed our first series last summer, we dove fully into that stuff. And even James was in the room for some of it on camera. So if anyone wants to misconstrue things, don't try me. And also, people are like, Jeffree, there's a lot of tweets being deleted. Girl, if people try to re-drag up shit about you every 6 months, you'd want them deleted too. There's already screenshots. I'm not hiding anything. I'm just tired of hearing about that subject. So you can take a 4-second video clip and a bunch of old tweets and try to spin a narrative. Not today, baby. Listen, I never knew that I was going to find my soulmate and the person that I was going to fall in love with, ever. I spent a lot of my time in the whole 20s single, alone, and just very, dark times. But the place that I am in right now is so healthy and great, and everything is good. So I will never let strangers try to dictate my feelings or make me out to be someone that I'm not. Girl. Not today.
Okay, so there's the clip. Very, very interesting, right? Very interesting. So I have a couple things to say about it, a couple questions I want to ask you guys to see how you feel about it. Number one, I thought the timing was really, really interesting on it, you know? It comes almost exactly 12 hours after Toddy made her video. Very emotional, very heartfelt. I thought it was like better than the first video for me. It was very endearing, and you know, you could just tell that Toddy is feeling so much pain over this whole situation, and that she really, really does love James Charles. And I said in my last video, if you haven't watched it, I did a video about the Toddy's video yesterday, and I said in there, you know, that Toddy Westbrook might be the greatest friend that James Charles has ever had. And, you know, I don't know why Jeffree Star put this Snapchat story out 12 hours later. I don't know if it's because he was like, oh, so Toddy put this out, so now I have to put something out. Or I kind of tend to believe that maybe there was some background conversation that occurred between him and Toddy, like maybe he watched the video or maybe they talked and they're like, okay, so this has gone too far. Like we need to kind of like pull in the reins a little bit. And you know, he says in the video, or he says in the Snapchat story that he regrets that he put the tweet out. You know, whether he regrets it, whether it was calculated, who knows at this point, right? But he does have a right to regret something that he does. I guess my only question in this is that, okay, and I'm not, this is not me comparing Jeffree to James Charles. This is me comparing Jeffree to anybody else out there in the beauty influencer community. Why is it that when Jeffree Star tweets something, okay, and he gets on Snapchat story and he apologizes for it and says he regrets that he did it, that everybody's like, great, Jeffree, but when anybody else, like Laura Lee or Manny or anybody else does, they're a bunch of snakes, they're canceled, their apology doesn't mean anything. So that's always interesting to me, especially in this culture of let's keep it 100%, let's keep the same energy and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't seem like the same energy to me, but I did think that it was very, very nice that he got on video and he owned it and all this kind of stuff. You know, with the whole comparison of James Charles and the allegations there and the allegations to Jeffree Star, you know, they're so completely different. I mean, they're so apples to oranges out there that, like, I'm not even going to get into that and address it. If you guys want to have a conversation in the comment section below, have at it. I just don't think they're comparable in there whatsoever. I have watched the videos that Jeffree Star has talked about or that he, you know, alluded to in there, the video that he did with Nate and some of the other videos. So they are completely different, you know. The only thing is that, like, he's canceled, you know, he also addressed going in there and deleting these tweets. I was reading some things on a thread on Twitter and people were like, well, there's a video of you out there though, like, being inappropriate, like, you didn't discuss that. So I don't know, people are wanting him to discuss that. Jeffree Star's not going to come out and address every tweet. He just, like, how could he possibly, okay? Have you guys watched Jeffree Star for a while? I mean, do you know how many inappropriate tweets he's put out there? Do you know how many edgy things that he's said through the years? And yes, a lot of them to me are cringeworthy. A lot of them to me are like, I don't know what I think about that. Okay, so I don't think that he feels like he's in a position where he ever has to answer that. And the one thing that I do think about this, okay, is that, you know, when we're talking about, like, and this is just my personal opinion about anybody in the world, okay? I'm a firm believer that you have to fall down on your face to get back up. I'm a firm believer that any situation that you go through, you can learn from, right? I hope that Jeffree Star learned from the power that he has for what he did, because his tweet alone probably caused a lot of damage to James Charles. And even though he comes back and he says, I regret that I put it out there, he kind of reiterated what he said in the tweet by saying that he and Nathan and James went on a trip together and that James displayed a lot of gross behavior. Gross behavior. That's important, okay? So he's saying, I'm not backing down from my statement. I wish that I hadn't put it out there in the public. I wish I'd addressed it on a personal level, but it was gross behavior, and I'm saying it yet again on a public level. So that confused me. I was like, okay, because I think basically what he's wanting to say is, I don't want James Charles to have to suffer any more pain than he's going through, but I want you guys to know that what I said was true. Like, that's kind of what I felt like he was saying. So I was kind of confused by that, because he kept on saying over and over and over again that he really wants, you know, James to feel like, to learn from the situation, to go through it. Like, he kept on saying he has to go through this, allow him to go through it, right? Well, let's keep the same energy, okay? I don't know, and I'm not going to address any other tweet out there, and, you know, whatever. Maybe it was a subtweet of Ian's, James's brother, but to be a family member in a situation like that, I think has to be really, really difficult. You know, do I think that they need to insert themselves in the middle of it? No, but if you have a family member, wouldn't you be protective of them in a situation like this, no matter what? You know what I mean? It'd be hard. And so when he said that out there, and then Jeffree Star tweeted that out, that caused a whole other bit of controversy. And he's tweeting it to a 17-year-old. So I I kind of wish he would have addressed that in a Snapchat story as well, because that just happened a week ago. That's not from 8 years ago. That's not a joke. That wasn't meant as a joke. I'm sure that was probably reactionary too, that he had a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions, right? But it would have been nice for him to say, hey, that wasn't probably nice of me to talk to you that way, right? And to come out, and he's not going to do that. Like, I mean, he's probably not. I would love for him to. Like, I would love for him to say, that wasn't Ian's fight. Like, I shouldn't have taken that out on him. You know what I mean? But if anybody else tweeted that out, we would come for him. But Jeffree Star, oh, it's just reactionary. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like really different about this. Like, I'm really glad that he got on video and he owned it and he said, like, hey, you know, everybody's talking about how, like, he apologized. I didn't really hear an apology. I heard him say he regretted what he did. I heard him say, like, you know, I was reading a bunch of threads and people were like, this is how you apologize. I didn't hear an apology. I heard him say, I regret that I put it out in a public forum. That's what I heard him say. And there is a lot of power in a public forum, and Jeffree does have a lot of power. Do I think that he's sitting there now going, I really do regret what's going on? Sure, yeah, I really, really do. I'm also wondering if part of the background story, and this is just me, like, listen, y'all, I watch this stuff, like I watch, you know, 48 Hours and that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sitting there watching, like Nancy Grace back then. Elizabeth, put that picture up, Elizabeth. Did y'all watch Nancy Grace back in the day? This is how I watch this stuff, okay? No emotional attachment to it whatsoever. I just sit there and watch it like, what is going down, right? I'm kind of wondering if they're not sure what James's next move is going to be on some level, you know? Like, I'm just speculating about that, okay? Like, I don't know. Okay, this is what I wish. I wish, and if I was James Charles and all this had happened and Toddy and Jeffree were at the forefront of this, right? But let's just be for real. What's come out isn't just from Toddy and Jeffree. It's just not. So he can't point the finger at them. A lot of it comes from James, and James needs to own that. And like what Jeffree said, it's true. James needs to learn from this and own it. And like I say, fall down on your face, get back up, become a better person, okay? Learn. You know, when you're going through the biggest tragedy of your entire life, look up and say thank you because you're about to learn one of the greatest lessons you've ever learned. So, I wish that they could sit down. You know, Toddy said in her video that she was like, had reached out to James and wanted to have a meeting at like a Google, like, you know, offices that was non-territorial. But then she didn't say anything after that. And I think the reason she didn't, because a lot of people were like, but she didn't really address that part. Well, I'm sure that James hasn't responded to her, you know? And a lot of this you have to understand with people is like power, control, and whatever. Well, James hasn't had the power in this situation. And supposedly he was reaching out to Toddy and she wasn't responding to him. And she explained why she wasn't responding to him, because she didn't want to have a conversation that could be manipulated by James, okay? So now what she's saying is, I want to have a conversation. I want to look to you eye to eye and let you know that I love you, I care about you, and I want you to learn from this, okay? I think that would be an interesting conversation. I hope that James takes her up on that. I almost even hope that Jeffree Star is part of that, and that they can sit down and maybe have some kind of, you know, like, I don't know, mediator that could sit in there and mediate the whole thing and have a conversation, and they could all share what's really going on. You know, to some degree, it's like when we look at all this stuff, to us, okay, to us making the videos about it, commenting on it, and to the viewers out there and to the people say, it's tea. But like I say over and over in my videos, like, these are real lives. Like, James is being affected by this. Toddy's being affected by this. Jeffree's being affected by this. Nathan's being affected by this. Ian's being affected by this. James's family, Toddy's husband, everybody's being affected. Probably even Jeffree's dogs are being affected by this, okay? So anyway, there's a lot, though, you guys. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of pain that's going on there. And a lot of accusations. And it's just messy. It's real messy. The mess needs to be cleaned up. It needs to be confined. And it needs to be put over here, okay? I think going forward, any conversations that are going to occur between those three need to happen behind closed doors, hopefully with a mediator that can do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think needs to happen. I hope before this escalates into something else that maybe James, Jeffree, and Toddy can sit down and talk, and maybe the three of them, because the public is going to demand an answer. I wish the three of them could kind of present some, not a get ready with me, none of that kind of BS, but maybe present together, all three of them, one video that they post on all three channels, and that they say, hey, listen, we need to address this. We've come to, you know, we've met, this is what we've discussed. This is what we want from James. This is what James wants from us going forward. We've all had a lot to learn in this situation, you know? So, I don't know. You know, there's so many people that have been hurt in this thing. So many stories that have come out of people that have pain involved in all of this. This isn't just isolated to one person. This is isolated to, you know, 20 people that have been affected by this plus at this point, you know? And the whole thing is very, very sad. I don't know. I am glad that Jeffree came out and he addressed it and said something, because I think if he didn't, I think that it would have been a really bad look, and everybody would have been like, okay, so Toddy said this, so now what Jeffree's thinking. And you know, I'm sure that after it happened, he's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have put it out there. Like, you know, maybe it was too harsh. I think all of us can relate to that. All of us have said things or done things at one time or another that we wish we hadn't in retrospect. All of us, you know? So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I love you, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.